to order. Thank you, Ms. Lyons. I see you just turned the recording on, so appreciate you for
You're
being here.
welcome.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Manzarat Oni. I am chair of the Social Services Committee for Community Board 17. I appreciate you all for joining. Again, today's meeting is being held on Thursday to account for Memorial Day. We typically meet on the fourth Monday of every month. So thank you all for being here. We're going to start with the roll call. So I'm just going to call you, and if you can state your name for the record and your relationship to the committee and the community, that would be great. And I'll just start in the order that's on my screen. So Sharon?
Sharon Marshall Taylor, resident of Community District 17, and also a liaison for Brooklyn Neighborhood Health, part of the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene.
Amazing. Thank you. Ms. McCain-Brown?
Monica McCain-Brown, committee member.
Thank you. Brenda?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Brenda Jean, community member.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Ayana G.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Ayana Giles. I am a community member.
Welcome. Thank you. Marcella?
Hi, everybody. I'm Marcella Flores. I'm a resident of District 17 and an occasional volunteer here.
Thank you. And Sabin?
Good evening. This is Sabin, community member.
Thank you. Oh, jeez. Hello, sorry about that. Thank you, Sabin, for that. So I'm going to start with the chairperson's report. So the main thing that has been sort of on the mind of this community is the current situation with SUNY Downstate. As you know, there was talk of closure last year, and community members, including our elected officials, came together to essentially save the hospital. But the question on the table has remained, what will the hospital look like moving forward? And so there have been a series of town halls, and there's also a community advisory board that was appointed by the governor to make recommendations. That advisory board's recommendation is due June 1st. And so there's just concern to make sure that the recommendations they made really reflect the desires and needs of the community. So I'm part of an organization called Brooklyn Health Equity Coalition, which is made up of members of CB 17-9-14, other community members that are really just trying to put the feet to the fire of the advisory board to make sure that the recommendations they make to HOCL are reflective of what we all need. CB 17 specifically, Downstate is the only hospital technically in our district. Obviously, you could go across the street to Kings County, but it is not technically in CB 17. And so, it's really important to us that the hospital both improve, but also, remain useful. And the current situation is that there is $1 billion allocated to Downstate. $750 million is a portion that the governor specifically earmarked in this sort of downstate revitalization attempt or effort. And then the remaining $250 million, which is spread across 5 years, so $50 million per year, has been earmarked like before this process even happened. And that is specifically for capital expenses for inpatient services. So there's $1 billion available to be invested, but the concern is that because of Downstate's location, because of the population that typically serves the hospital, that's frankly still not enough. And regardless, there will be $100 million deficit every year at Downstate. And essentially, where we're at is that the governor is like, I've given you 700 million or 750 million. I'm not giving any more. And so Hochul is essentially saying that, something needs to be done to address that 100 million deficit. The Health Equity Coalition's argument is that like it is okay for a hospital to operate as a deficit because it is not meant to be a profit making entity, but rather just to serve the community. And if it is appropriately serving the community, then it's the government's role to step in. And so we're trying to push to continue to push on that just to make sure that the hospital still serves the needs of the community. So what the advisory board currently is proposing is to increase investments in cancer, OBGYN, and cardiology care, and improve the actual beds in downstate. The problem is that their proposal to improve the beds includes adding a full bathroom with shower to each room. And downstate currently has about 300 beds, which means 300 patients that can be in the hospital at any particular night. But when you build a bathroom, you decrease the beds because, space is at a premium and we're not going to build a new facility. So it would be taking downstate from 300 beds down to 100 beds. And some of the calculations that went into this were just comparing downstate's activity to other hospitals. For example, downstate typically delivers about 500 babies a year, whereas Maimonides and Methodist do around 6,000 a year, and Kings County does 1,000 a year. So there is thought to essentially take those 500 babies delivered at downstate, transfer them to Kings County per year, so that Kings County is delivering closer to 1,500. And then perinatal care might be a focus of downstate. So you'd have less children being born, but more pediatric care for like young children, even, just recently after infancy. There are other things that the advisory board is saying, essentially to they want to remove the emergency room and say that all level 1 traumas should just go to in this area should just go straight to Kings County rather than trying to split them between Kings County and downstate. But one of the concerns is also because downstate is a teaching hospital and it's a hospital that teaches doctors that often end up in our community, we also want to make sure that they have the ability to experience different types of cases and gain those types of cases. And so the Health Equity Committee is going to be hosting a virtual town hall on June 12th, the Thursday after next, to just give community members one more opportunity to, voice their concerns. So the flyer is being worked on and should be done by the end of this week. And I'll make sure to circulate it within this group and would ask that you all circulate it to your communities as well, just to get as many people to show up to share, how important downstate is and how important some of these features are in the hospital. And before that time, I'll also give clearer write-up of all of the things that the CAB has proposed. We're hoping to actually preview their recommendations before that meeting. So I would share it internally with this group as well, so you can have a chance to look it over, so that when the town hall comes, we really know what it is that we're trying to advocate for. So that is the current update on downstate. Other things wanted to share is that downstate actually right now is starting tomorrow, they are beginning their community health survey. And so they're asking Brooklyn residents ages 18 and older to fill out this anonymous survey for a community health needs assessment, just to help the hospital understand what people think are the most important health issues in the community and what matters to people most. I will be sure to have this email or this link shared around. And again, please share it with anyone who is, a potential person who could be attending downstate. And then in September, downstate, they've asked me to share this information that they're going to do a healthy lifestyle fair that specifically celebrates men's awareness. And this will be on Saturday, September 6th. So that'll be the Saturday after Labor Day, and it'll be at downstate from 10 to 4. And I'll just make sure that a copy of this flyer is shared as well. And then the last thing I wanted to share was that we had a proposal from Harvey Katz, trying to see. Harvey Katz is an emergency room nurse who does community education and is offering to do a workshop on stroke education. So I would like to actually host that during our next social services committee meeting. So I'm asking the board office to create a flyer and share that out. And, you know, again, would love your support in sharing that with as many people as possible so that we can have a virtual webinar about stroke education for the community. I said that was last. That was not last. The last thing is that we want to start planning for the fall social services fair. It was, you know, really, or the fall community services fair. Sorry, it was really successful last year. Unfortunately, due to capacity, we weren't able to do a health fair this spring, but would love to just incorporate some of those, you know, health related agencies and such in October. And so the first planning meeting for that will be next week, most likely Wednesday the 4th. And we'll share information once we've settled on a time, and would love the participation of anyone who would like to support planning the fall fair. So that ends my report. I know I talked a lot today, so please let me know if you have any thoughts or questions about anything I just shared.
Hi, Montserrat. It's Marcella. That was a lot. That was a lot of information, and I'm so glad that you're working with the Brooklyn Health Equity Coalition to get this moving. I'm wondering. I think you said this, but maybe I missed it. But is there a document that can be viewed now ahead of the town hall in June to be reviewed for the recommendations that have already been made? And is it appropriate to send communications to the Brooklyn Health Equity Coalition as for more ideas, or should I wait for the June 12th town hall?
First question is no, we do not have the written recommendations from the Community Advisory Board. We had seen a news article, I think last month, that sort of previewed what they think or thought that the advisory board would share. I'm not exactly sure how the reporter got the information, but that was then shared with us. And so we were responding almost to speculation, right? Like, we've heard you want to reduce the number of beds. Is that true? A member of that board then joined that Health Equity Coalition meeting that I was on an hour ago and kind of just talked a little bit about like how they came to their decisions and what circumstances they were evaluating. And the chair of the Health Equity Coalition requested that we see the written recommendations before the town hall, but as of this exact moment, it has not been shared.
Okay.
And then as far as sharing stuff with the Health Equity Coalition, I think that the best way would be for it to come from like the Social Services Committee. So we can, during the old business portion of the meeting, just kind of discuss any bullet points that we want to add and make sure that we communicate. But I mean, I have no problem giving you the email. It's just an email, but I think for streamline purposes, it's probably better for us to just do it as a group.
Okay. When you say do it as a group, you mean like now, or schedule it for a future meeting, or what do you think?
I mean now, but like a little bit later in the agenda. I just
Oh.
want to see if anyone else has questions on my report, and then we can move on to old
Okay.
business. Discuss it
All
there.
right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions, reactions to my report? Hearing none, we can move on. Oh, did someone?
Yes, I'm interested with planning the fall fair.
Fantastic.
But when do you typically have the fair? Because I know that Brooklyn Neighborhood Health has their Fall Fest the last Saturday. Well, that's September. So you said it's in October, right? Okay.
Yes. We're
Okay.
debating on October 11th and 18th.
Okay.
And I think that the planning committee would make that final decision.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So I will note that you are interested in supporting. Thank you. And Marcella, I'm volunteering you because you were so great last year. So expecting you to participate, at least to some extent, in the fall fair planning.
I'm happy to.
Thank you. Okay. Any other thoughts or questions on my report? Hearing none, Ms. Lyons, do we have enough members here to approve the meeting minutes? Ms. Lyons, are you there? Nope.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm here, Miss Oni.
okay. Do we have enough members to approve the minutes?
Hold on, let me check.
No problem.
No.
Okay. All right, so we'll put that on hold to the next meeting. Moving on to new business. Does anyone have any new business that they want to share with the group? Okay. Unfinished business, this would be the time to talk more about downstate. And so for context, we did compile recommendations that I shared in a letter to one of the previous town halls, and still have that letter. I could find it probably and run through, but overall we're talking about more accessible medical records, better patient advocates and alternative treatments, more doctors versus residents. There are often times where doctors are not on shift, improving the bathrooms, increasing salary for nurses, increasing training for staff, especially non-clinical staff. That is probably the gist of it. I can find the official letter that I shared. Yeah, I found that letter, so I can share that. But this would be the time if anyone has thoughts on basically the message that CV17 Social Services is going to come to the virtual town hall with. Please feel free to speak up.
Okay, so I'll take that opportunity. So I think that one thing that's critically needed at Downstate is a clinical research unit. And what that is, it's dedicated personnel and space to participate in clinical trials that are sponsored by pharmaceutical companies. This could bring not only revenue to the hospital, but also cutting edge therapies to the community and to anybody who chooses to participate in the clinical trials. In my position, in my day job, I actually meet with a lot of providers, physicians at SUNY Downstate. And one of the things that I'm told frequently is that they can't support clinical trials. And I think it's a lot of money left on the table for a hospital or a health system that could really support it, and the community could really use the cutting edge research. It would be about 5 to 7 permanent staff, from clinical coordinators to admin to support applications, et cetera, and then clinical staff to bring in patients, or to see the patients for their clinical visits, although that could be taken part-time from the staff already seeing patients there.
Thank you. Does anyone have thoughts on that? Because I also want to make sure that anything we share is representative.
Hi, it's Sabin. I had worked for an organization, and I actually was, I had communicated a lot with the clinical research coordinators and the person that was in charge at the time. And I usually find it's a big endeavor because there's a whole process involved. And so I too ask the same question, being in the communities, clinical trials, so on and so forth. But I never get the sense that there's a full picture given the support and all the responsibilities that come with it. It's a lot. So I'm just curious when that is brought, if there would be a person who can really speak on behalf of that, because usually it's the physicians involved, the clinical groups, the IRBs. It gets so big. So that's why I bring it up. It's almost like what I've learned over the years is who's the representative that's got the loudest mic, who can also have the political acuity to get things moving without any delay, if that helps.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good points. Getting an IRB on board is tricky, although you can usually use central IRBs or local IRBs to carry some of that weight. So it's not all on the university. They don't have to have their own IRB. Also, there's a clinical research company, like a for-profit company, that does the same thing, and it's right here on Bedford and Linden. And they're a for-profit company that are taking a lot of the patients that could be seen at Downstate. And I just think that it's an opportunity for us to reclaim um, that those trials and the service that we'd be giving to the patients, who need different types of medicines for whatever reason.
Do you know the name of the company?
Yeah, it's called the Brooklyn Clinical Research. It's at 150 Lenox Road. Oh, it's Lenox, not Linden. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think maybe it's, of course, moving in stages because this doesn't happen immediately. But setting a goal for like what level of research, until the capacity is built for more broad base. But I feel being involved in clinical research, and especially for the population that Downstate serves, will give opportunity for more diverse peoples to be part of clinical trials, etc. So I like the idea, but also know that it is something that they should set a goal and build towards. And of course, us doing our homework as to what it would take. And as far as IRB, I'd have to research that. I've kind of not been engaged with Downstate the way I used to, but I'm surprised that they don't have their own IRB. So just a university in and of itself, because I know when I worked for nonprofits, we've worked with them to evaluate our work in the community.
Yeah, I can reach out to a woman named Alicia. I forget her last name, but she is sort of our rep at Downstate, and just ask her what the status of that is. Because I agree, I would assume that the university would have an IRB, but I just don't know. So I want to make sure that we're making smart recommendations as well, that are feasible. So I can reach out to Alicia and see where that stands.
Hi, I just want to add, I also put the link, and please, if it's not correct, you can certainly, I thought it would be interesting to, when you get a chance, Monserrat, to please take a look at that link and just review it, because it says Brooklyn Clinical Research. And of course, what I always like to see is if something is in the community, is it part of the community, which reflects the community? And of course, knowledge is power, right? So please, when you get a chance, and I'm one of those people who's very receptive to having any organization, through you, of course, in this and us, come and talk and just let us know what is it that they do, how they serve the community, and just to better understand, because a lot of the time when it comes to clinical research, the community is not either, for obvious reasons, they may not trust, or they may not understand, or they may not know it's available. So even then, there has to be a level of education. So maybe that's something in part affairs. Do you know what clinical research is? How you can get involved? What does it entail? And so on and so forth. So knowledge is power. And sometimes maybe the physicians may not even bring it up because they're thinking of treatments. Whether, for example, I'm just giving cancer, for example, you'll go directly to a treatment, which is normally chemotherapy, radiation, and so forth. But I don't know if clinical trial options are always brought. I don't want to be presumptuous, but these are the kind of things that are usually tied to education, knowledge. Unfortunately, it's socioeconomic also.
Yeah. I think that's a valid point. I'm happy to reach out to them, even to ask them to come chat with us at this meeting. I think that would be helpful for us to have an understanding of how they work within the community, and then see if we want to further engage with them moving forward. So I appreciate you dropping the link.
Montserrat, can I ask a favor? When you do
Yes.
contact them, I don't know if you were even planning of mentioning my name, but if you mind not mentioning my name, only because it's my day job and I don't want to conflate the two, and I think I'll get in trouble with my day job.
Got you. Okay, no problem.
All right, thank you.
Of course. That's not where you work, is it?
No, it's not where I work. I meet regularly with the with one of the physicians there. Her name is Mushtaq, Amara Mushtaq, and she is running some clinical trials for HIV for my company.
Got it.
And I just don't want to muddy the waters.
Yeah, no, I respect that, and appreciate you still showing up for the community, even though you're doing this stuff on a daily. So,
Yeah, thanks.
no problem, of course. So I did paste the original letter that I'd shared with the CAB, the Community Advisory Board, back in February, in advance of one of the town halls. If y'all have a chance to glance through it on the right. But beyond clinical trials, is there anything else that we want to make sure that we emphasize? And if you don't have that, at the top of your tongue right now, please definitely feel free to email me as well. We have 2 weeks until this town hall comes, and I'll probably wait until like 2 or 3 days before to like compile all of our recommendations again. But just want to open the floor in case anyone else has thoughts. Khadijah, welcome.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
No problem. I'm gonna offline you after this meeting just to catch you up, so you know what has been moving.
Hi, Khadijah.
Hi, Sharon. How are you?
I'm well. Hi.
Okay. Any other, like I said, any other thoughts on? Seven. I saw you just dropped another link. Okay, helpful. Thank you. Any other thoughts
I'm
on?
really just, and I probably won't have answers. I'm really exploring how downstate can have an expertise in something that people
Mhm.
would want to come to downstate specifically, for. But I think definitely approaching cardiology and all of that may be one of those things. If it becomes a place of like a center for excellence or something like that, what does it take? But I think, yeah, so I'm still thinking it through how best
Yeah.
to poise downstate, because I know that, their biggest challenge is one of their challenges is their the mix of private insurance and public insurance, not having an adequate mix of both, but what would bring people there. I also would just basic things, of course, the career development for those there, and partnering with local schools, things like that, to build a bridge. I know they already have their program already with young people, but being even more intentional in younger grades. And I don't know where they are with the work that they were doing years ago, addressing maternal mortality and morbidity, and if it's really just kind of just shifting it, if it's best to just shift it over to Kings County or not. So I guess I'm just doing stream of thought right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm trying to think through how to really provide a letter that really can help them devise of a pathway to make them competitive.
Mhm. Another thing that was mentioned on the call by the CAB representative was that a unique challenge downstate has to other hospitals is it's really truly central Brooklyn. And a lot of other hospitals are accessed in one way or another by some sort of major highway or major
Sure.
transit opportunity. And so downstate doesn't serve as like a destination hospital because even I think like Langone or something is right off the FDR. So, you even if you're driving in from Westchester, you might go. Whereas if you're driving in from Westchester, you're not likely to come to downstate.
Yes.
Which also, makes it important because for those of us who are in this community and also don't live near a major highway or even Parkway or even Kings Highway, downstate is the place that is easiest for people to get to. So definitely want to make sure that it still serves as like a good resource for somebody who's maybe lives in the 50s and is going through
Yeah.
cancer treatment. They should be able to go somewhere local. But to your point about like finding something that downstate stands out, I think that's important because it's not the most convenient location. So part of the draw has to be I'm going to get the best blank care if I do take the B44 or whatever and go to downstate, versus trying to consider a different hospital. So that stream of thought is helpful. I will push the chair of the Brooklyn Health Coalition to share the CAB recommendations with us as soon as he has them. I know he himself is pushing to get them. We don't have them, but I think that would also be helpful for us to respond, to the specific points that they've laid out. So I would just say, like, please look out for emails from me and keep in contact with me over email if other thoughts come up over the next week or so. But as a reminder, that town hall will be virtual on Thursday, June 12th. Any other thoughts before we move on?
I wanted to know, like, maybe since they are trying to become something specialized, why not focus on things that are chronic illnesses for our Black and Brown communities, such as sickle cell,
Mm,
you know, and make that the shift. If you're really trying to make a shift,
hmm
sickle cell happens at any time. So getting given day, just a centralized location, whether it's downstate Kings County, because you hear different people's experiences because of the simple fact that they do have sickle cell and their pain crisis, and because they are Black and Brown, the levels of pain medication they're given is not suffice. Maybe this is a way that we can kind of create that equity that pertains to Black and Browns when it comes to sickle cell.
hmm I will be honest, this is the first I'm hearing that come up in all the conversations I have. So it seems like a big leap. Um, but I think that we can maybe not like it seems unlikely that the hospital will essentially, change its functioning to focus on it. But I do think we can bring it up as like an issue that, we all know it's most prevalent in African people of African descent. So like an additional thing that they could focus on. I think that's a great call out. So thank you. Writing that down. Okay, so we can't solve all of this in this meeting, and I do want to make sure that we have those recommendations from the CAB to react to. So I will follow up as soon as I get those. But I think we can move on. Is there any other unfinished business anyone would like to discuss? Okay, hearing none. That is the end of our agenda. Just a reminder about that community health survey from downstate. I'll make sure that you all have the link in your email, but it opens tomorrow and will be open actually for 2 months. So I think it would be really great if this group could serve as unofficial ambassadors to really get as many people as possible to sign up. Like, I'm sharing it just within my building. I live in a building of 120 units, so that's a good amount of people. And just like lean on our networks to really make sure that our community needs are heard by the hospital, because they do want to hear from us. And I will send out more information on the first planning meeting for the fall health fair. If there's nothing else, would somebody call to adjourn the meeting?
I call to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Marcella. Anyone second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Sharon. This meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Hope you all stay dry and that the sun comes out for us soon. And have a great evening.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good night.
Everyone.
Good night. Thank you all.